Hello, YouTubers, and welcome to Level-Headed News. This is your host, Brenda. I have 5 articles in this episode for you, and all the URLs are in the description of the video for your convenience. The first article that I have for you is off of BizPack Review, and it says, releases list with local jails that shamefully illegals. The Trump administration is taking a name and shame approach as it pressures local authorities to cooperate with federal immigration law. The Department of Homeland Security released a list of 206 cases of illegal immigrants released from custody before they could be taken by immigration and customs enforcement agents, Fox News reported. Around 2/3 of the case came from Travis County, Texas, home to the liberal city of Austin. These cases do not represent all cases in which ICE wanted custody of a suspect and were denied by local authorities, and it isn't clear what time frame is covered by the list. The report highlights a variety of crimes, including the case of Jamaican national in Philadelphia charged with homicide, along with multiple sex offenses, assaults, and driving under the influence cases. The majority of immigrants whose cases are highlighted are Mexico or Central America. The Travis County cases also include a mix of convictions and charges ranging from drunken driving to aggravated assault and sexual assault. Sally Hernandez, the sheriff of Travis County, campaigned and won on a promise of not cooperating with ICE, other than in cases of major crimes like murder and sexual assault. That policy prompted Republican Texas Governor Greg Abbott to cut $1.5 million in grants to the county. Between January the 28th to February the 3rd, ICE issued 3,083 detainers, but it is unclear how many have been honored, according to Fox News. Thomas Homan, the acting director of ICE, said when serious criminals are released because detainers weren't honored, it undermines ICE's ability to protect the public safety and carry out its mission. The next article that I have for you, of Refugee Resettlement Watch. And this is in the teeniest, tiniest print you ever did see. Lord have mercy. Let's see if we can zoom this up a little bit. You couldn't read that if you had good eyes. Let's see. This says Trump administration proceedings with Obama's Australian dumb deal. In a story about whether Australia's illegal alien asylum seeker housed on Nauru and Manus Islands had another choice to go to another country besides the U.S., no, there is another choice except for the previously offered Cambodia. We learned that Trump has sent a team to those islands to begin the screening process. Here's the news from News Corp Australia. Don't forget that most of the aliens held in offshore detention centers are from Muslim countries. The Immigration Department chief has confirmed Australia is not negotiating with any other countries to find refugee resettlement places for people on Nauru and Manus Island who miss out on going to the U.S. Asked what happens to the refugees who miss out on America, Department Secretary Michael Pezzullo said there was scope for them to stay in Papua New Guinea on Nauru or go to Cambodia. Out of 5 refugees who went to Cambodia, only 1 is left. The rest went back to their countries of origin, despite the $55 million budget for the deal. Mr. Pezzullo rubbished suggestions in the Mr. Pezzullo rubbished suggestions the U.S. may take no refugees under the resettlement deal with Australia. I don't agree it could be 0, Mr. Pezzullo told a Senate inquiry hearing in Canberra late on Monday night. He said the agreement was for in the ballpark of 1,250. The deal was struck with the Obama administration and will reluctantly be honored by the new president, Donald Trump, who branded it a dumb deal. The hearing was told there are teams of U.S. Homeland Security officials on Nauru doing fingerprinting and security interviews, who will then go on to Manus Island in April and May. Medical screening would follow. Department of official Rachel Noble said America had not set any parameters around the country of origin or refugees that it will accept, despite a 90-day travel ban to the U.S. by citizens of 6 Muslim countries: Yemen, Iran, Libya, Syria, Somalia, and Sudan. If we start to admit the refugees Australia does not want to take it to its homeland, we need to demand to know which lucky U.S. towns and cities will get them. Our entire Australian deal archive is in a link here in this article if you want to pull it up and read that. And then there are a lot of comments after this if you want to pull them up and read those for yourself. I have is off of All News Pipeline, and it says, citizens rise up against city officials as ICE releases list of 118 sanctuary cities that are not complying with the law. And there again, it is a little teeny tiny print. Now, who in the hell can read that? My goodness gracious. See if we can increase the print here on this bad boy. It takes a minute for it to catch up with me. Give it a second here. Yeah, that's looking a lot better. That's something I can actually read. Okay. On January the 25th of 2017, President Trump issued an executive order titled Enhancing Public Safety in the Interior of the United States, where in Section 9 deals with sanctuary jurisdictions, which states it is the policy of the executive branch to ensure to the fullest extent of the law that the state or a political subdivision of a state shall comply with 8 USC 1373. That 8 USC 1373 refers to a law that was part of the Illegal Immigration Reform and Immigrant Responsibility Act of 1996, and also as part of the Omnibus Consolidated Appropriations Act of 1997, titled Communication Between Government Agencies and the Immigration and Naturalization Service, which states, notwithstanding any other provision of federal, state, or local law, a federal, state, or local government entity or official may not prohibit or in any way restrict any government entity or official from sending to or receiving from the Immigration and Naturalization Service information regarding the citizenship or immigration status, lawful or unlawful, of any individual. Sounds clear enough, right? Well, it says here, in President Trump's executive order, Section 9 includes subsections A, B, and C, detailing that it is up to the Attorney General and Secretary to ensure that jurisdictions ensure the jurisdictions that refuse to comply with ICE law are not eligible to receive federal grants, and ordered a weekly decline detainer outcome report, which would publicly detail a comprehensive list of criminal actions committed by illegal aliens in any jurisdiction that did not comply with the law, meaning reporting and detaining them for immigration officials, as well as directing the Director of Office Management and Budget to provide relevant and responsive information on all federal grant money that currently is received by any sanctuary jurisdiction. The first ICE declined detainer outcome report is out, covering the week of January the 28th, 2017 to February the 3rd of 2017, and shows 118 sanctuary jurisdictions, more commonly known as sanctuary cities, refused to comply with the law by declining 206 detainers and could now be ineligible to receive federal grants. The report details the city, state, and the immigrant came from, as well as their notable criminal activity. The convictions listed include assault, arson, domestic violence, burglary, driving under the influence, forgery, identity theft, indecent exposure, probation violation, fraud, aggravated assault, robbery, illegal entry, and more. Those do not even include what is listed as charged, meaning they have not been convicted but have been arrested and charged with a crime pending court actions. Those include homicide, sexual assault, and indecent exposure to a minor. The point being, these are not so-called dreamers that liberals like to trot out publicly while claiming a clampdown on illegal immigration and deporting them is inhumane. These are criminals that 118 jurisdictions in just the first weekly report were released back into their communities, with city officials protecting from federal immigration enforcement by providing them sanctuary, therefore endangering every other citizen in their cities. According to the EO, it is now up to the Director of the Office of Management and Budget to detail what federal funds these jurisdictions are receiving, so the Attorney General and Secretary can list them as ineligible and cut their federal funding. The report is embedded below. Note in this says, according to the report below, local law enforcement agencies do not generally inform ICE when they are not following the law. So the report only shows cases where ICE personnel became aware in the course of their enforcement duties. And if you want to read that, you can pull that up and take a look at that. And there, after I get, it's like 35 pages. Okay, so obviously I'm not going to read that for you, but if you want to look at it, you can do so. It says, note, carefully look at which cities are listed. If you're a resident of any of those cities, attend your community board meeting. Those that allow public comment, stand up, raise your voice, because as you will see below, those public comments can then be shared in order for the general public to become aware of what is happening in those cities, to expose public officials to scrutiny for their actions and decisions, because the certainly isn't informing the public that violent, convicted, illegal alien felons are being released back out onto the streets. One such meeting was shown via multiple videos 2 months ago, showing community members at an LA Board of Supervisors meeting where Trump supporters countered pro-illegal protests outside the locations. The meeting was to take place, as well as 1 or 2 minute clips of those against LA becoming an official sanctuary city, stood up to the board of directors, spoke out against such policy. Video clips do not show, or did not show, is the utter disdain of the Board of Supervisor members in speaking to these concerned citizens of their city, as shown in the newly released video shown below in this article, if you want to pull it up and see that. What is very interesting, and most likely the reason the mainstream media refused to cover this, is that usually when one speaks up against illegal immigration, liberals attempt to paint them as racist or any of the other derogatory names they throw out. But these citizens include African Americans begging Trump to intervene on their behalf. Once he was inaugurated, Latinos here legally, as they stressed clearly, even one lady that did not speak English, so her son had to translate her statements as she spoke out against LA becoming a sanctuary city. After reading through hundreds of pages of transcripts from the LA Board of Supervisors meeting, I was finally able to find one from this specific meeting, which was held on January the 10th of 2017, which can be read here at a link by PDF in this. You want to pull it up and click on that. A sample which is representative of the statements made by community members shown below. Transcripts are in caps in this. It says update, another PDF link via ANP Reader Remy. Yeah, I'll go ahead and read this. It says, Candace Camper. Yes, I'm glad you're here, Ridley Thomas. You probably know who I am, Candace Camper. I'm one of the homeless citizens on the Anzac property that you left homeless on street. There's 7 of us. Okay, now I want to go to this immigration. Yes, you guys did. And you guys want to fund illegal immigrants, and you left 7 African American people. Whoops, it jumped on me. Hang on. 7 African American people out on the street, homeless, with no help on the Anzac property. Audience disruption in it, and it says, and I am one of the victims, and you guys have the nerve to sit up here and help illegal immigrants. Me and 7 other people, and my child was kicked out of a home due to housing corruption in your district, and you were well aware of it. Okay, now if you guys say illegal immigration is legal and you are saying this is illegal, well, guess what? If illegal immigration or undocumented isn't a crime, then why are you as citizens being unfairly charged with illegal crimes? If they can do it, so can the American people. And then they talk about fearful of their children. The American people are fearful currently now due to the Mexican cartels, who are upset because they are going to be deported, and now they are attacking American families. And my son was one of them that was attacked by these Hispanic cartels, and these are the types of dangerous people you guys have in our country. It's Americans first, and we will call the federal government on all of you guys. Get our country back. And here's another one. Elsa Adger, she says, hi, my name is Elsa Adger, and I'm here on behalf of the Latino community that are here legal. As an immigrant from El Salvador, I strongly disagree that California is even considered sheltering illegal criminals that have broken the law instead of prioritizing our legal citizens. Look around on the streets. We have homeless sleeping on the streets. We have veterans without no food. We have children without proper care. Are you guys aware that California's deficit went from 37 million to 300 million in just 1 year? We cannot afford to be helping illegal criminals. They use our tax dollars to fund illegal aliens. It's prohibited by the Constitution of the United States. And there's an audience disruption. It says, and I learned of that when I became a citizen. Forcing the taxpayers in California to fund illegal activity is wrong. California needs to protect our legal citizens first. God bless America. One of the most important points made here, other than the diversity of those against sanctuary policies, was highlighted by the first speaker below. These board supervisors are elected officials, and as such, they can be voted out and replaced with elected officials that will represent the people that vote for them. But people have to see, hear, and be informed in order to make that happen. And there's some video in this if you want to pull it up and watch it. And the article continues. It says nearly 1/3 of California voted for Donald Trump in the presidential election. These are the forgotten men and women of California, the unheard, the silenced, the ignored. They exist in every jurisdiction that is breaking the law by refusing to comply with 8 U.S. Code 1373, and they deserve to be heard. These are not people organized by some group funded by the likes of George Soros. Protest. These are American citizens, immigrants that came here legally from different backgrounds, religions, and race, all fighting to have their voices heard. If the mainstream established media will not give them a voice, then it's up to the independent media to do it. Mr. President, can you hear him? And there's some videos, several videos here in this one, if you want to pull it up and see those. The next article is off of Liberty Writers, and it says, Trump strikes back. The judge Trump's travel ban just got a brutal awakening. When they blocked his first travel ban, Donald Trump tried to work with the liberals. He revised the whole thing to fit their exact specifications. What do they do to thank him? They blocked him again. Now, the judge who blocked the second ban, Hawaii Judge Derek Watson, just got a brutal awakening straight from the White House. Trump and Jeff Sessions are taking him to court. This is not just some threat on Twitter either. The DOJ has officially filed a formal appeal that could take them all the way to the Supreme Court. If they want to play this way, fine. Donald Trump has been to court so many times, it would make your head spin. Oh, and he always wins. This BS needs to stop right now. It's a temporary travel ban on just a handful of nations that ISIS has captured. Huge majority of Muslim nations aren't even on the list. If Obama had tried to pass it, Republicans would have gladly approved. We need to keep our country safe from terrorism. And the next article I have for you is off of Western Journalism. It says, liberal lawyer says judges wrongly used Trump's rhetoric against him. And there's video in this. Judges that are ruling against President Donald Trump's executive order on travel and immigration are applying rules to Trump's order that had never been applied before, according to Harvard law professor Alan Dershowitz, a longtime liberal. Dershowitz said he opposes Trump's policy, was within his authority to issue the order, noted that the judges are not looking at whether the law gives Trump the power to act as he has, but instead at Trump's campaign statements. The idea of focusing so heavily on campaign rhetoric and essentially saying, look, if Obama had issued the very same order with the same words, it would be constitutional. But if Trump issues it, it's unconstitutional because he said some things about Muslims in the run-up to the campaign, Dershowitz said. For example, in his ruling against the order, U.S. District Court Judge Derek Watson wrote that the reasonable objective observer would view the order as issued with purpose to disfavor a particular religion in spite of its stated religiously neutral purpose in the context of Trump's campaign comments. For instance, there is nothing veiled about this press release. Quoting a Trump campaign document titled, Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States. The U.S. District Court Judge Theodore Chang, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, who also ruled against the order, used Trump's campaign rhetoric as the basis for his ruling. These statements, which include explicit direct statements of President Trump's toward Muslims and intentions to impose a ban on Muslims entering the United States, presents a convincing case that the first executive order was issued to accomplish as nearly as possible President Trump's promised Muslim ban, Chuang wrote. Under that reasoning, had the identical executive order been issued by President Obama, it would have been constitutional. But because it was issued by President Trump, it's unconstitutional. Indeed, any executive order issued by President Trump dealing with travel from Muslim countries is constitutionally suspect because of what candidates Trump said. In my view, that is a bridge too far. It turns constitutional analysis into psychoanalysis, requiring that the motives of the president be probed, Dershowitz wrote in an op-ed for The Hill. Dershowitz said what a political candidate says he has never been used as fodder for legal rulings. That's not the way the law is supposed to operate, Dershowitz said on Fox and Friends. However, he said because the initial ruling was based on campaign comments and not the legal basis Trump has for issuing the orders, he expects Trump will win the upcoming legal battle. I'm putting my reputation on the line. I predict the case gets to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court will uphold the major provisions of this ban, Dershowitz said. I do not believe this is a Muslim ban. And that's all I have in this episode. If you like what I'm doing here, give it a thumbs up and share it on your social media so everybody gets to enjoy the news. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done that yet. There is one more episode this morning. So I'll see you there.